Hey, what's up, universe? It is 1:36 a.m. on Thursday, June 15th, 2023. So a couple things real quick. So this is going to seem kind of random, but it's all tied together. Yesterday, I haven't gone to sleep yet, so it's always kind of weird for me. Yesterday, being Wednesday, the person who is now the person who fulfilled my role at Apple reached out just to connect on LinkedIn, and so that was cool to connect with them. And the reason I mention this is that they had mentioned to me, we exchanged just a few messages, they had mentioned to me that they were going to send me the role at Etsy as well. But then they saw my LinkedIn post about how somebody else had already done that for me. And I was like, interesting, you know? So that would be 2 times now, right? And like two different individuals being like, hey, this job at Etsy. So then tonight, like I was literally about to go, I was in bed and I was looking on Indeed, because normally I'm looking on LinkedIn, right? But for the Etsy job, I could use like an Indeed resume, and I was like, like I should just go ahead and set that all up. So I spent, yesterday getting that set up. And so tonight I was like in bed and I was like, all right, I'll just check out Indeed real quick, right? And, put in my criteria, and what's the first job listed is the mom project, like, is partnering with Etsy to fulfill another Zendesk role, right? So the Zendesk role that I saw on the actual Etsy webpage was specifically for Brooklyn, New York. This one is a fully remote position, and it's on a different team. And I'm like, oh, this is so interesting. So that makes it 3 times that Zendesk and Etsy showed up. And I'm like, okay. Now, like what my mind immediately goes to is that book, that I mentioned before about The Beginner's Guide to Constructing the Universe by Michael Schneider, right? And the number 3, like, is bringing things into reality. It's like, it's the 3rd dimension. There's a lot more to it, but like things happen in 3, like ready, set, go, ABCs, the power of 3s, you hear these things like location, 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 like, our brains, like, it's a natural progression of like, boom, now something is material, like there's an action, there's something coming through. Anyway, I was like, all right, I hear you, universe. So I got up and, created a little mom project profile and just submitted my application for that as well. And let's see what else. It seemed like there was a couple other things. I did watch a movie this evening, and then right afterwards I just cried again. In fact, I sobbed. This, I feel, I've had this before, like this happened in February, right? Like in January, a lot of stuff was going on. Grace and I decided that we were going to, go through with the divorce. And I just remember just the amount of emotional, like, I call it purging. It's a form of metabolizing it, I feel like, but it's moving it. So I'm crying, I'm sobbing. I'm on the floor, like these are very unbecoming images in my mind. And like, I can't very well see how I would do this with somebody, you know what I mean? When I was married with Angela, and this isn't how I would want to have, it's not how I would like to have a marriage, but she was usually up in our bedroom and I was usually in the basement, you know what I mean? So there was like this separation of space, but yeah, anyway, there was a lot still that was coming up. So I just wanted to put it out there that it's interesting. Oh, yes, I knew there was one other thing. So there was a Zendesk position that I had applied for a couple of weeks ago, right, for somebody that was going on like parental leave. And so the recruiter, or I'm unsure if it's a recruiter or if it's somebody from the company, but they wrote me back yesterday being Wednesday, they wrote me back Wednesday. And we're like, hey, sorry it's taken so long to get back with you. The hiring team is like kind of reevaluating like their needs, and we'll be in touch with you, hopefully soon. And I'm like, all right, cool. That one's a temporary position, like supposed to be about 3 months or so. So I'm curious like how that'll unfold. So there's just some things that are out there that are still like percolating. And one other thing I do remember that I wanted to mention. This is completely like not job related. I was curious, and I didn't want to really mention anything about it until the date had changed, and technically the date has changed. It is now the 15th. This is going to go to like astrology stuff. I'm always curious about how things shift for me, or what things may look like on my profected month. So there's things in astrology called perfections, and it's dividing the month up. Anyway, so for me, this would be the time to look for that to happen on the 15th. So anyway, I'm just curious how that's going to play out. From June 15th to July 15th would be a segment, and then July 15th to August 15th is another segment. Anyhow, just putting it out there for just for fun. All right, I am now going to go get some rest. Thank you again. I've noticed I haven't been dropping in. I know that that's true, so I'm still not completely dropped in, I'll give you that. I can't, there's some energy that is still moving. And I feel anxious to like get off here just because I don't want to hold up time for you just to drop in. So I feel a responsibility around that. That's keeping me from being centered and grounded. It's a little funny. All right. Thank you. I appreciate your time and your space. Thank you for journeying with me. Thanks for sharing this with me. All right. I love you guys. I'll talk to you later. Bye.